DayZ has come a long way since its early days as a buggy and ambitious survival mod. Now, a decade later, players are calling for a sequel, while others have suggested it probably won't happen. But here, we're going to look at what the devs have said, plus the information we do know about it. If you liked the video, please leave a like or a subscribe, it really helps me out. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Time to introduce myself. I'm Negan. There is a lot to get through here, so let me know your thoughts in the comments. As I've said before, I genuinely do read every single one of them. Okay, so firstly, the devs finally addressed the documents that were leaked by Microsoft claiming Bohemia Interactive was working on a sequel to DayZ. That sentence was way too long. He sort of confirmed Microsoft documents were nonsense, and it was even a surprise to them. The project lead pretty much dismissed the claim outright. Well, sort of. He also spoke about the potential for the DayZ 2, basically stating that there would be no official announcement until they had something concrete. He said right now they were focusing on DayZ 1. Yes, he used the words DayZ 1, but there is more to the story. In the same interview, the project lead mentioned supporting DayZ for the next 2 years. That's interesting because in an earlier video from last year, he spoke about a 10-year plan for DayZ. So what does this mean? Are they wrapping up the original game, or is this a sign they're preparing for a potential sequel? If so, we could see a DayZ 2 teaser as early as 2027. We know they already have an engine capable of delivering a really good experience, plus almost everything else in place. It's a cool thought, and it's one I've seen a lot of people express, but it also raises more questions than answers. Because here's the thing, despite what the occasional person who doesn't seem to be able to find enough fruit to leave the coast says, DayZ's numbers are climbing at a crazy rate right now. It's seeing success like it's never seen before, reaching the top 5 most played games on Steam, selling 500,000 units of DLC in just 2 months, and constantly breaking its own records month after month. Releasing, or at least announcing they're working on a DayZ sequel right now seems like a no-brainer, but it probably wouldn't be. In fact, it probably wouldn't capitalize on the growth they've built up. It could even flatten it. We've seen this happen with other sequels that failed to match the success of their predecessors. Because DayZ is not some ordinary game. The first DayZ has over 10 years of refined systems, complex mechanics, and features that work because they've been polished and balanced over time. A sequel would struggle to live up to the hype, and if it released incomplete as an early access title, for example, which would most likely be the case, it could take years to reach the standard players expect. Anybody familiar with DayZ's history knows early access simply does not suit this game. A sequel would face immense pressure to deliver the same experience, but better, and on day one. It sounds impossible, and that's not even the biggest hurdle. One of DayZ's biggest strengths is its accessibility. This comes in many shapes and forms, but its biggest one, you can run it on almost any PC. A sequel, however, would likely require higher specs, cutting off a significant chunk of the player base. According to the Steam hardware survey of 2024, 40% of Steam players use lower tier PCs, 50% have mid-tier, and only 10% have high-end machines. Releasing a game that demands better hardware has the distinct possibility to alienate a large portion of players, especially that 40%. And sure, Bohemia could make the sequel compatible with most systems, lowering the requirements, making it more accessible, but if it's only a small improvement, what exactly is the point in a sequel? It'd feel redundant and be completely unbalanced for PvP. Surely it would be better to just invest in the current game. But let's be real, in the current climate of advancement and demand, it is the next logical step. And because we're not stupid and we know DayZ 2 is at least potentially part of a larger conversation, why don't the devs just announce they're working on it, or at least they plan to work on it? Well, let me just take this one from over here. Because people are dicks. Just look at GTA fans. Rockstar sneezes and the internet explodes with "Where's GTA 6" memes, demanding a sequel to the last game like they're part of Rockstar's board of directors. The second DayZ is announced, every forum, every comment section, every developer Q&A will be flooded with demands for a release date. It's already constantly asked about now. It's a no-win situation for the team. People are dicks. Not you guys, but the other people. On a personal note, and this might surprise some people giving I'm a DayZ channel, I actually don't want a sequel yet. I think for me, Sakal has shown just how much life is still left in DayZ and how far it can go. So when people say, do you want a sequel? My answer is always, I haven't even completed the first one yet. That being said, a sequel could remove a lot of stress from the devs. As my earlier video on the infected AI showed, currently they're somewhat limited in how they can advance in certain areas, because they not only have to find developers who specialize in some areas, but ones that can work with DayZ's unique decade-old engine. And I've said before, I know for a fact they've been sat around their DayZ executive table with their DayZ floor mats and their DayZ chairs with their DayZ mugs, talking about plans they want for DayZ, and then somebody, a little voice from the back goes, we tried that, but it didn't work. And then they released the Hounds. But a new game could open up all the possibilities for all the things that people want. For example, firing out of cars, better base building, training a little white mouse, calling him Pinky, and then trying to take over the world. And by the way, if you get that reference, it's probably time for your first prostate exam. Although all our governments seem to be doing that for us. Sorry, I drifted off. But the whole point of the video was to let you know that they are probably working on a DayZ 2. If they don't have any major plans, then they certainly have some form of a plan. At least that's what I got from what he was saying in the interview, but I don't think it will be anytime soon. In fact, personally, I'd say that they were going to get Arma 4 out of the way before they even considered diving into the realms of a DayZ 2. So although there may be some plans or some discussions or even some expectations or hopes, I don't think we're ever going to see a DayZ 2, especially not before Arma 4 is out and done and stable. And I do think we might even see another map before we see another game. And I'd be really happy with that. But I do think this clip right here is a very important one from the interview.
If there is some movement that leads to something concrete, I believe that our community will be first to learn.
So similar to Sakal, even if they were working on something right now, I don't think we would ever get an announcement until, as he said, they had something concrete to show. And if you want to watch more DayZ content from a moron like me, maybe click on this video here, or for something else, click here. And as always, until next time.